Mhm.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I will give a little bit the introduction, and then we can answer some questions. First, my name is Yongxiang Lu. I'm a professor at Purdue University. We are organizing this competition for autonomous UAV. I want to first tell you that this is the first competition we are going to organize on autonomous UAV. We are going to organize several in the coming years. For those people they are not aware, we receive several funding grants from different organizations to organize this competition. And this is the first of the series. So we are still to be direct, we are still in the learning process. So please stay with us and tell us how we can improve things. Let me give a brief introduction of the people here from the Purdue side. So Hunter, he is working on the stage 2, the physical solution, also the sample solution. And Jay, he is working on the stage 1 simulation. And Chang is the advisor for stage 2. And James is the director of the UAV lab, so he can answer some questions about the physical facility. Who else is from Purdue? I think that's everyone from Purdue. Is that right? Did I miss? Oh, Wei, Professor Wei Zakharov. She is the co-PI of the project, and she helps coordinate all the activities.
Hello, everyone. Nice meeting you.
Thank you. So I think we can go directly to the questions. If the participants has any questions, please go ahead. Please unmute yourself. And this meeting is recorded.
Sir, may I go first?
Of course.
All right. So first of all, my name is Sadman Islam Alif, and good afternoon to you all. I hope you're all are doing great. So basically, I'm from, I'm a participant from my country, Bangladesh, and I'm participating from Brack University. So, sir, I had a particular question that I was thinking about the timeline, because we have seen a timeline in a website that's mentioned that the simulation phase is gonna kick off from February the 1st, and it's gonna end on the 1st of May. So yet again, and there is another timeline on the different website that's mentioning that the 13th February is the submission deadline for the simulation period. So that's why I was a bit confused about like when when is the simulation gonna be closed.
Are you referring to a conference?
Yes, sir, because I've seen two different websites. So one of them mentioned that two of them actually are mentioning that there's gonna be a UAV competition. So that's why I was in a
We are not
my team
related to
was
a conference. We are not related to a conference. That's a totally different competition. We are not related to that.
So you have a link in the chat, which I just now posted. So for everything, you have to only refer to this link. This is the competition we are hosting, and all the details which are on this website hold true. And we have not yet updated, I guess, on the relaxed deadline. We have extended the deadline for stage 1 to February 13th, the Sunday. We are just going to update it soon. But yeah, this is the website you should be referring to.
Yeah,
We are
please check lpcvc.slack.com. Updating the computer website is very slow. We do not control that website, so it's very hard to update our website. The first link by Jay, but lpcvc.slack.com is a very interactive. We answer questions very fast, so please use that place.
Right, sir. So in that case, sir, then the another one that was mentioned in another website, like, is it also interlinked to this event also?
No,
Like,
let me find our website. I saw it earlier, but I don't know where it is now. We have nothing to do with the conference. We are not related to a particular conference. the winners, we plan to organize a workshop or some kind, but we have not planned. We are not attached to a particular conference yet. So we have nothing to do with any particular conference at this moment.
Oh, all right, sir. So like that's a different event.
We have nothing to do with that thing.
Oh, all right.
We are
sir,
not
all right.
related
Okay.
to that. Let me try to
So
find it, and I will tell you we are not related to that, but I cannot find it now.
I pasted the link to in the chat of the other website. This was a question that was mentioned in the LPCVC Slack.
Okay.
Before,
yeah,
so.
We are not related to this.
okay, sir. And so the other one is that like when would be the top 10 will be declared for the competition after like submitting the simulation period, the stage
So
one?
we plan to stay with the schedule because we have the stage 2 that'll be in April. So the stage 1, we do allow slightly later submission, but we plan to move to stage 2 as planned.
And sir, another question I had that like on the stage 2, would the drone be given to the top teams that will be qualified from the stage 1 qualification, that PX4 Vision kit?
If yes, we plan to give a few UAVs to the top teams. James, can you tell us how many UAVs we have so far? We ordered several, some have not arrived yet, but we also have several in our hand. James, can you tell us how many we have right now?
Yeah, so our plan is that we have 5 vehicles on hand that we can give to the top teams. We haven't decided how many teams we're going to select for the final phase yet. But based on that number, the most we'll select is 5, but I think we might be more around 3 for the final team selected that'll get a drone and invited to Purdue.
All right, sir. So in that case, sir, like if the teams get selected for the from the stage 1, then the drones that will be provided from the competition, it would be like delivered throughout the whole nation, like those for the selected teams. Or like we have to take our software to the facility, then implement it on the device.
So our intention is that we will have the hardware. Getting it to you is might be difficult if you're in a different country, and as far as shipment times. So based on the timeline, we will have the vehicles here where you can come to Purdue and test and deploy it. If there's any way to get it to you in time that you could use it for development, we'll try to do that. But otherwise, we'll do what we can.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. And sir, one other question that I had, that if we have received the drones, like will it be like taken away again from us, or like if the top 10 teams gonna have the drones on their position permanently?
No, you'll receive them permanently. Yeah.
All right, that's the great news. Thank you very much, sir. And another thing is that, sir, a travel grant was mentioned on the website. So like on the outsider teams, like would we receive any travel grants, like if we get qualified or any of the teams get qualified, like the drones that we are getting from the facility and for the competition, but yet again, like is it also like merged up with the travel grant?
What kind of grant you mean? I don't understand.
Oh, sir, and like a travel grant was mentioned, like about $2,000 will be given to the teams who qualified from the stage 1 simulation for travel, for traveling to the facility.
So we are still working on the sponsorship. As of right now, that particular grant only for United States.
Only for United States.
As of right now, we may get a sponsor that will expand to outside United States. So we don't know yet.
All right, so thank you very much, sir.
Also, it's possible we may find some sponsors to provide less, but possible to other countries. Right now, we just don't know. As I mentioned at the very beginning, this is the first of a multiple competition we're organizing. So we don't have all the pieces yet. We are raising money from some sponsors. We'll see what happens in the sponsors.
All right, so thank you very much, sir. And like, am I asking too many questions? Like, I'm asking questions repeatedly. So
It's okay.
No, that's fine.
Thank you. Yes, there are some questions in chat. Can you, if you put the questions, can you speak so that we understand the questions? Andre? Jay, I think that's a question about the simulator, I think. Can you see that question?
Are we allowed to ask other questions now, or do you
Of
have
course.
a question?
Go ahead.
So hey, this is Dirk from Cooper Union. Hey, how are you doing, Young Lu?
Good, good. Thank you.
Hey, we just got started with a couple of students here working. Actually, today we just installed the software. And we were really looking for a minimal working example, something really simple, so we can just fly the drone together with the rover in one simulation. So is there a minimal working example, like for instance, a Python scripts that just like does a minimal thing? Because in the README file, it says something like this, but I couldn't find it.
Jay, I think that's a question for the simulator.
You have any packaged code which can launch the PX4? So you're asking about the minimal working sample solution for the simulator or the actual drone?
The simulator.
Simulator. Yeah, Hunter, do you want to pitch in?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can pitch in. So if you run the simulator, you've been able to run the simulator with the rover, but not the drone yet? Is that
correct?
Am I understanding correctly?
Yeah, both separately, but not together.
So if you run the simulator and then run the PX4 Cytle live launch, or where you launch the firmware, it should spawn the PX4 drone into the simulated world. And then you can specify like the, what is it? You can specify what world you would like to spawn it into in the launch file. If you want to see a minimum working example of offboard control, I would say PX4. I mentioned the PX4 avoidance package in the competition manual, which includes launch scripts that also simulate the camera for the drone, including support for the Intel RailSense D435i camera that we plan to use in the competition. So for those launch scripts, you should be able to specify the world path. And then if you specify the same worlds that the simulator is running on, it should be able to spawn the drone into that world.
So you ROS launched in two separate terminals, basically, in this case?
Yeah. ROS launched two separate terminals.
Okay, and I just want to double check. You're saying, what was so the regular one is trial one setup.launch. What was the PX4 is just the avoidance launch file?
Yeah, I can actually, there's there's a lot of
maybe posting. Would you mind posting like instructions on this? Because like we are starting this very day, like, and we don't have a lot of time. So it would be really helpful to have this like maybe as documentation on either the GitHub, or maybe you can just copy paste it into the Slack channel. Yeah, it would be really helpful.
Yeah, the controller stuff, that's fine. We understand that that's part of the solution. It's more just getting the simulator, the nodes and the topics set up. That's really the part we just want to make sure is working properly.
So we don't waste time on that.
Yeah, definitely. We can add that to the README then. So competitors can get that minimal. Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to post something on GitHub or on Slack, or are we going to do?
It will be updated in the UAV CC simulator GitHub README.
Okay, so I just do a pull with Git.
Yeah, and then I can send a message in the LPCVC Slack as well. When
that would really help us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from anyone?
Yes, if I may ask a question, how much are we allowed to modify the drone model?
what do you intend to modify in the drone model? And maybe we can do from there.
It's just that we don't really have any given drone model. The one we have in the example is something called Iris drone, which is not exactly the same, if I understand correctly. And there are camera parameters which are also not really don't really correspond to the into camera real sense camera used. And for example, can we reorient the camera to face downward instead of forward?
Yeah, so you're free to do all of that. The one thing we want, is you just have to publish your position so that to the Mavros topic so that we can see it in the ROS bag when you submit your simulation data. And we have an updated simulation that has a rover that broadcasts with the position plugin through Gazebo ROS its position as well. So when we submit your solution, we just want to be able to know exactly where the rover is in your simulation and know exactly where the drone is in your simulation so we can measure the score. And we want to see your source code so we can see how you're doing the trajectory planning to avoid the buildings and things of that nature. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And also, will points be deducted for hitting buildings or not?
So the raw score as is doesn't have any points deducted for hitting buildings. It's assuming, I mean, if you can make it through to the end and track, if you hit a building, you're probably not going to make it. It's probably going to crash. So we didn't include that in the score as is.
Okay, thank you.
I don't recommend hitting a building.
Yeah, no, I think it will likely crash your vehicle if you hit the building in real life. So.
All right, sounds good. What are the other questions? I think somebody posted a question in chat. Lee, can you explain your question? Lee, are you there?
Oh, I think if I understand this question correctly, it's when they give the link to the GitHub repository that they're submitting, can they ask us while grading their submission to install a few ROS dependencies to run their solution? Is that or is that your question? I can.
Well, yes, if that was your question, yeah, I guess we should be okay with that, Hunter. We are mostly manually grading your solutions. So if you have very clear, like written down steps as to how to install these dependencies, then you should be good, I guess.
And for the submission, we're asking for 3 things to make it easy to grade. One is a video of everything just working on your end to show us how you ideally hope that it works on our end. The second is your source code so we can build it to try to match and see what you've done for your solution and try to recreate your solution on our side. And the final thing is a ROS bag so that we can see all the raw data and compare and we should be able to compute the score right off of your ROS bag if everything looks correct.
All right, thank you for the answers. Did we answer all the questions? Yeah, go ahead. Your questions, go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. The particular question that I had that without like using the PX4 vision, like would we, like, is there any flexibility of using the hardwares like by ourselves, like sourcing the alternative hardwares regarding comparing with the PX4 vision? Like it's a totally development kit. So like, is there any flexibility of using our own hardware in that case?
If you bring it to Purdue facility, yes. But
Right, sir.
you have to first pass the simulation, stage 1. You have to be qualified. Then we move to stage 2. We'll see how many people move to stage 2, and then we will adjust if necessary. It is possible to bring your hardware to Purdue, but of course you have to arrange the travel.
Sir, in that case, like the PX4 like dependency packages that we are using for the simulation. So in that case, in the simulator, in the gazebo simulator, we are actually showing the PX4 vision drone, which is already in the simulator, and the packages are being given. So if we like use an alternative hardware, so in that case we have to add that hardware to like make the simulator understand that, yeah, we are using this hardware, so you are going to work like that. So in that case, like could we use any alternative hardware packages to the simulation trial?
Jay, do you think that's possible? Or James, do you think it's possible to accommodate different hardware modules?
So I think, hardware wise, the vehicle itself doesn't matter. Like if you're, we're basing on the Holybro X500 platform, and just because it's easy to use and easy to pick up. But you guys can use whatever you want for the actual vehicle if you want to do your development and testing. We recommend for the 3D camera, you use an Intel RealSense, just because it has a better 3D point cloud than you'll get with things like the provided camera on the PX4 Vision drone. The PX4 Vision drone, we noticed wasn't very good for indoor flight. So with the camera that's mounted. So I'm fine with you guys switching on hardware, as long as you guys bring it to Purdue. We have some D435s that you guys can borrow if you need to. And we have, PX4 Vision drones, which form a good base. What we've done is what is the camera that's mounted? I think it's a Stereo Labs or
it's a structure core.
Structure core. Yeah, so we basically pulled the structure core out and we plugged in a D435 and we got a lot better results. And we recommend you guys do the same thing. We don't think the structure core is sufficient for the data that you'll need for the competition.
Right, so thank you very much, sir.
I would suggest you run the simulator within the module, the same module. It will make things easier to compare. If you want to bring hardware to Purdue, that's certainly possible, but just be aware of COVID. Many countries still have travel restrictions. So if you use different hardware, we will not be able to launch the UAV without your presence. You have to come to Purdue. If you use the same hardware, it is possible. We'll see how that will work out, but it is possible to launch your software even though you are not here. Just be aware of all the restrictions, right? You are certainly welcome to visit Purdue. Just be aware of the COVID restrictions. When we started the planning, we certainly about a year ago, we certainly hoped COVID would go away by now, but that's not true.
One other thing on the simulation, the PX4 has a built-in model of the iris mounted with a 3D camera. That's a good starting point. And that doesn't match the actual physical platform of PX4 Vision, but the 3D model and the inertial properties are not that critical when you're doing your path planning and things of that nature. So we'll be perfectly happy if you don't match your exact vehicle mass properties to your gazebo simulation. All we're looking for is that you basically have some kind of trajectory planning where you can see where the vehicle is in the environment and you can track it and you can try to avoid obstacles as you try to stay close to the vehicle to follow it.
All right, so thank you very much.
So, hey, this is Dirk again. Sorry, I just want to come back to that question that I asked before of a minimal working example. I just feel like, I mean, we're really short on time, but in general, like it would be really helpful to just have a Python script, preferably, where it just has all the commands in there to launch the simulation with the rover in it, with the drone in it, and how I have basically how I have a grab on these objects, like how I initialize them, and then how I can steer them around. something that, just illustrates on how to deal with these objects. Like, I don't have a lot of experience in ROS, but I'm trying to help out my students here. Some of them have a lot of experience, some of them not so much. So just for the purpose of like getting started, it would be super helpful to just have this Python script that initializes everything, brings up the rover, brings up the drone, and just tells me how to steer them around and orient them with respect to one another, and also get position orientation. I think that's pretty helpful for actually everybody in the competition, because like you demonstrate basically that everything works together, that everything functions well, and then all we got to do is really figure out the solution, following this rover as good as possible. Yeah, I think that would be just great in general for upcoming competitions as well, to have this minimal working example. Because like I said, we're sitting here with a couple of undergrads. We have, thank God, some EEs. We have done some stuff at Ross, and we're just debugging and trying things out as we go. And I also have our lab technician here, Mike. He's also helping out. We really like this competition, but yeah, we both feel that would be really helpful.
Yeah, I think we do have a minimum working example that basically starts up a color ball tracking, that it takes off and it tracks the ball. And I think Hunter can refine that example, and it has a 3D environment with the buildings and things that you're moving through. What we don't provide in that solution is hooking it up to something like Octomap that does the collision avoidance, and lets you actually create like a map as you go.
Yeah, that's
right.
That is fine, but at least like we can get started. We have something that we can get started on, because right now it's like, what do we get started on? We don't have anything really.
Yeah, I think Hunter, I mean, that's all in place. I think that we just had kind of have a failure of communication on this, right? Maybe if we did like a video of how to get started, of the command line, the commands you use to run, and show that running, and we could link that on the GitHub, that would be useful.
Yeah, I think that would be extremely useful for people to just get started on this.
Oh, okay, yeah, absolutely. I know Ken actually put together a short video of just spawning the drone into the simulator and being able to fly it manually with that. But yeah, I can talk about also having a video of just getting.
And just like a little Python script as well, with just the basic instructions to initiate stuff and to get things rolling. Because like again, my students here mostly deal with Python, and if I throw anything else at them, it's going to be very difficult for them.
Mm-hmm.
I did have one question regarding, I know you were saying you wanted to look at source code for trajectory mapping to kind of see how that gets scored. I was curious if it's also okay to do a non-trajectory based controller, right? Like a potential field-based controller or those types. Is that sufficient, or it must be a trajectory planner?
Yeah, you can keep it really low level. I mean, you could do a potential field-based and just look like a local planner. We're not going to penalize you for that. All I meant is, when you submit your solution, we want to see how you approach the problem. So we do want to see your source code so that we can see what exactly you're doing.
Yeah, make sure not spawning their drone like on top of the rover, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Or attaching some spring.
Or attaching a spring damper to it.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that you're not cheating, but past that, anything you guys can think of is fine.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thanks. That helps.
Helps a lot.
All right, sounds good. Any other questions? Thank you for the suggestions.
Oh, by the way, when can we expect to see something? Because it's very short day, and fingers crossed we get something done in 1 week. But maybe one other little please, could you extend it by another week?
No, essentially it's not possible. We have an absolute hard deadline in April. So the stage 1 deadline cannot be extended further because we have to fix the stage 2 deadline. That's a hard deadline. We cannot extend. This competition was announced last year. Many people have started last year.
Okay.
So we have a physical deadline for stage 2 that's not extendable. We will certainly where, as I mentioned at the beginning, we will organize multiple competitions. So the physical deadline is beyond our control. So that is, I'm sorry, but I don't have the power to extend the stage 2 deadline.
All right, understood. It was worth a try. Thank you.
Well, thank you for asking, and thank you for the interest. Just it's beyond our control.
Yeah.
Because that facility is used by multiple research project. So that is
No,
the
I fully understand. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? If a question, please ask. You don't have to type if you can speak.
Well, sir, thank you very much, sir. So the question that I had is that when would be the next competition gonna be arranged, like after this competition?
Earliest will be October, but maybe next year.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
It again depends on the funding source.
Hi, good evening, Professor. I would. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Hi. I would like to know if the drone already see the truck or the rover from the starting point, or we can need to plan a strategy to search the truck in the simulation.
We plan to start you off where you can see the drone clearly, so you won't have to search for it initially. However, if you lose it, it might be wise if you had some kind of recovery strategy.
No, okay. Thank you, but the strategy, it's different if we lose or if we don't know where is it at all.
Oh yeah, so it will start out. The rover will start out within view of the drone, but for trials in the simulator and in the test facility, there are going to be situations where the rover can go around a corner or something. So there are it might get lost after the start, but in the start, you will be able to see the rover from the drone.
Thank you. And another question. We have some problem with the PX4 Vision simulator. We can run all the example, the local, the global avoidance, etc. But we use the iris with the real sense because the PX4 Vision in the firmware, I don't know, but don't compile when we make sit the default gazebo in the folder following the extraction. We have some error, and the only thing I can do is to comment the variable. I don't know if anyone have the same problem, or it's the standard installation. It's Ubuntu 18.4, and it's a plain installation, but I have this error, so I can't use the PX4 Vision, but I can use the iris model. Okay.
The iris with the real sense is fine. If you want to post your errors in the Slack channel, maybe we could take a closer look at what you're running into. But there's no problem with the iris 3D camera model. Yeah.
Okay.
James, I want to clarify one thing. Occlusion will happen, right? We will intentionally create occlusion, right? The drone will not be able to see the rover occasionally. Right. Is that right?
Yeah, we will have the building set up and things so that occasionally the rover will disappear, and you'll have to predict where you think it is and try to maybe go to that position, or at least, where you think you could follow it. So that will happen. It will also happen that there will be obstacles where you can't follow the rover. There just won't be enough space, and you'll have to plan a way around it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you for all the great questions. We'll clarify. Yeah.
Sir, not a question, but request that I was thinking about. Like, could the simulation trial deadline could be extended just for 2 days, like
No.
on the 15th?
No. We need time. We have a hard deadline for stage 2. We cannot extend further.
Or just 1 day, sir? Only just 1 day.
Jay, you are going to grade the simulator. I will leave that decision to you.
So initially we were supposed to give it on 12th. We already extended to the Sunday night, the 13th night from the 12th night, because it seems to be a good deadline. From Monday, we have to start grading. So I guess it's pretty unreasonable to extend anymore.
I'm sorry, we have a hard deadline for stage 2. That's beyond our control. So everything has to be pushed back because of stage 2.
And there are many other constraints for the availability of students to grade the solutions, and a lot of other schedules have to change. So I am afraid that we can change it anymore. So yeah.
Sorry. I'm sure you're busy. I'm sorry, we are busy too. We have a few factors beyond our control, so we cannot change.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Any other questions?
Yes. Hi, I'm Stefano. I'm the team leader of Scuola Superiore Sant'Anna, and I'm a colleague of Andrea Vannini. I have a question about the obstacle avoidance, because sometimes we are able to fly the IRIS drone in the simulator, but sometimes the obstacle avoidance does not allow the drone to fly through the buildings. So we don't know if it is a problem of the scale, and perhaps the camera gives dimensions too large, and the drone begin to fly around all the buildings.
Yeah, so we saw this in live testing as well, that basically as is, the PX4 obstacle avoidance is set up to be too conservative with respect to the scale that you guys will have to deal with in the environment. So it will require some parameter tuning of the PX4 local and global planner in order to work well. Yeah.
Okay, so we have to work on the parameters of the camera.
Not of the camera itself, I guess, but the local planner that's on PX4 is very conservative. It's tuned to avoid trees and things. With the 3D camera, it's not tuned to allow you to be within, several feet of an obstacle. And in order to do well in this competition, you have to be able to fly within several feet of an obstacle. So I think it will require adjustment of the PX4 parameters dealing with that.
Okay.
Control. Yeah. So that would be the local planner of Ross for PX4. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
There's a question in the chat about simulator.
So this UAVCC, isn't that the other conference?
I actually don't know. Yeah, we have nothing to do.
UAVCC is the UAV Chase Challenge. So that is the one by IEEE and not the one by the what is it, US I think it's USA conferences, ICUAS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So UAV, we have nothing to do with the conference. I already posted in chat. Yeah, sorry, there are too many competitions. Just we are not related to this.
Yeah, if you have an existing package that you can leverage in ROS that would work for our competition, feel free to use it. We're not going to prevent you from using any existing solutions.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Going once, any more questions? Twice, 3 times. Okay, well, thank you everybody. So this is recorded. I will post the link of the recording in Slack. If you have not joined Slack, please join Slack. And if you have any questions, please post in Slack. That's a place where we answer questions more quickly. Otherwise, then thank you again for the participation. As I mentioned at the beginning, we plan to organize a competition again next year. It's possible we will organize again late this year, but we don't know yet. It depends on the funding source, but we hope that will happen. If it's successful this time, maybe we'll get some sponsors to do it again late 2022. But if not, we currently have a funding for 2023. So thank you again for your participation, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you to you.
Goodbye. Thank you.